The letter arrived on a Wednesday. No warning, no friendly neighbor knocking on the door. Just a flat, white envelope shoved into my cabin's mailbox like a silent threat. Bold block letters read, "Notice of HOA violation. Immediate action required." I stood there in my flannel shirt, boots still muddy from clearing dead branches off the East Trail, wondering what kind of joke this was. There were no HOA rules out here. That was the whole reason I bought this cabin, 45 minutes from the nearest strip mall, tucked between two ridges and a creek that still ran clear enough to drink from. I opened the letter. $30,000 in fines. According to the Lakeview Hills Homeowners Association, my cabin did not meet structural and aesthetic standards and was in violation of Articles 4, 5, and 13 regarding compliance with approved color palettes, siding materials, and external modifications. They claimed I had failed to submit renovation blueprints, yard layout plans, and occupancy declarations. It was a threat dressed up in legalese. Pay now or face escalating action, including property liens and potential foreclosure. I read it twice, then a third time. This had to be a mistake. I drove into town the next morning, straight to the county assessor's office. The clerk, an older woman named Miriam, who had probably seen every land dispute in the region, pulled up the GIS maps and boundary documents. My cabin wasn't just outside the HOA district. It was never included, not even close. "Someone's trying to bluff you," Miriam muttered as she flipped through digital records. "This HOA's boundary ends a half-mile down the mountain. That's your land. Always has been. No easements, no overlapping jurisdiction." So I did what I thought any rational person would do. I sent the HOA a certified letter with the boundary maps, the deed, and a firm statement saying they had no legal authority over my land. I expected that to be the end of it. It was the beginning of hell. 2 days later, a black SUV with tinted windows pulled up the cabin drive. A man and woman got out, both wearing navy blue polos with Lakeview Hills Compliance embroidered in white. They had clipboards and attitude. The man, tall, fake tan, mirrored sunglasses, didn't even say hello. "You received our notice?" "I did. It's irrelevant. You have no jurisdiction here." The woman, blonde and stiff-faced, snorted. "All properties in this valley are subject to Lakeview Hills standards. You are required to comply or face enforcement. You're standing on land that's outside your HOA boundaries. You're trespassing. Leave." "We'll add that to the file," the man said, scribbling something. "Non-cooperative behavior." They left tire ruts in my gravel drive. I thought that was it. The next morning, my mailbox was knocked over. Then someone spray-painted "Rule Breaker" on the side of my utility shed. The day after that, a drone buzzed my roofline at dawn and hovered outside my bedroom window. I called the sheriff's office. They sent a deputy, but without video footage or proof of who vandalized my property, there wasn't much they could do. He suggested setting up trail cams and keeping a log. So I did. Then I got to work. Because I wasn't going to let a bunch of suburban tyrants with clipboards harass me into submission. I'm not a guy who gets pushed around. I served 2 tours overseas, came back, studied law, and built my own home with my own 2 hands. I don't scare easily. I started digging. Turns out the Lakeview Hills HOA wasn't just overreaching, they were overextended. The current president, George Keller, had been inflating HOA boundaries in public documents for years, quietly folding in neighboring lots to justify higher administrative fees and fake enforcement actions. Most owners never noticed. Some paid the fines just to avoid the fight. Others sold and moved. I wasn't going to do either. I found a group of residents on a local forum, people like me who'd been hit with mystery fines and pressure to conform. A single mom who installed a swing set for her kids and got fined $3,500 for unapproved recreational equipment. An elderly couple forced to tear down a greenhouse. A veteran fined $10,000 for painting his front door red. They were tired, beaten down. I told them it was time to fight back. I started by filing a formal complaint with the State Homeowners Association Regulatory Board. Most people don't even know that exists, but I did, and I knew how to write a complaint that sticks. I included GIS boundary evidence from the county office, copies of the harassing letters, photographs of the vandalism and the HOA vehicle, statements from neighbors also being coerced, drone footage showing the HOA's unauthorized surveillance. And then I called a friend, my old commanding officer, now an attorney with a reputation for burying corrupt developers. He was in. We filed a lawsuit. Not just a small claims retaliation, a full-on civil suit for fraud, harassment, unauthorized lien threats, and trespassing. We filed for injunctive relief and included the HOA board members personally. The media picked it up. I'll never forget the look on George Keller's face when the local news crew showed up at his gated mansion asking why he was being sued by a veteran for trying to steal jurisdiction over land he didn't own. He shut his door in their faces. Didn't matter. We had the documents. We subpoenaed HOA meeting minutes and discovered board votes had been faked. George had been signing unanimous approval letters without even telling the rest of the board. The treasurer resigned the next day and sent us even more dirt. Emails where George coached compliance officers to test boundaries and apply pressure to resistance zones. Resistance zones, that's what he called us. 2 weeks later, the sheriff's office launched its own investigation into criminal misconduct. The pressure was mounting. Then came the moment that changed everything. One of the residents, a quiet man named Mr. Rivera who lived near the South Woods, suffered a stroke after receiving a third lien notice taped to his window in the middle of the night. His daughter called the sheriff screaming that the HOA was killing her father. That was it. Public outrage exploded. People poured into the county commissioners' meeting demanding answers. HOA members were booed off the stage. A petition to dissolve Lakeview Hills HOA got thousands of signatures in 2 days. Then came the raid. With a warrant signed off by the district judge, county officers entered the HOA's headquarters and seized hard drives, files, and laptops. They found falsified signatures. They found lists of non-compliant homeowners with notes like "sue if possible," "pressure with violations," and "threaten with lien." They found financial records showing Keller had been embezzling dues into private accounts under fake maintenance companies he controlled. He was arrested at 7:15 a.m., cuffed in his driveway while reporters filmed. The HOA vice president and 2 compliance officers were arrested days later. And me? I stood outside the courthouse, surrounded by people I had never met before this fight, and gave a press statement. Some people move to the mountains to escape chaos. Others bring it with them. But no one, not even a homeowners association, gets to invent power they don't have and weaponize it against decent people. Not anymore. The lawsuit settled 2 months later. We won. Not just the return of the fines, but punitive damages. I received $250,000. I donated a portion to the local fire station, and the rest helped pay off the mortgages of 5 homeowners the HOA had harassed the hardest. The HOA was dissolved by court order, their property seized, their bank accounts frozen. George Keller's trial begins next month. He's facing charges of fraud, harassment, falsifying public records, and criminal conspiracy. The others may take plea deals. Doesn't matter to me. What matters is that peace returned to the mountain. No more drones, no more letters. Just the wind in the trees, Duke barking at squirrels, and the eagle carving I installed where the mailbox used to be. $30,000 in fake fines. They tried to shake me down. Instead, they shook the whole system loose. Because some cabins are built with wood. Others are built with steel. And mine was built to stand. Thanks for watching this heartwarming tale from Pixar Tales. If the story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a little magic today. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing these stories to life. Subscribe for more unforgettable moments, and we'll see you in the next tale.